as of right now, I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be a playoff team in 2017. But obviously, I'm no messiah or anything. That doesn't mean they're not making the playoffs. And we're going to talk about this today. Some X factors, some potential difference makers for the Eagles this season that could potentially make them be a playoff team. We'll see what happens. Jeremy Burton is here. I'm Adrian Fedke. Let's get into it. How's it going, bro?
Oh, man.
Feels like I haven't seen you since the draft.
Dude, I mean, OTAs just started today. We're starting to get back, before you know it, summer's going to be here. Training camp, preseason, had the draft about a month ago at this point. It's exciting. And I'll tell you, the number one person, the number one X factor, if we want to make a playoff run, we have a little quarterback going into year 2.
He's a ginger. And dude, Carson Wentz, it's funny because I didn't think you were going to think of Carson Wentz. I didn't think like anybody would think of him being an X factor. But to me, he is the one guy that can literally put this team on his back and bring the Eagles to the playoffs. Now, my thing is this, and this is something I talked actually with Philly 500, through text. I don't know if you're familiar with Philly 500 or not. But so we were both like, all right, if the Eagles make the playoffs this season, it's because Carson Wentz is better than we thought. And I think Carson Wentz is pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what he did last year as a rookie, okay? He was thrown into the fire. He found out 8 days before that he was going to be the starter. And with the supporting cast he had last year, I mean, wide receivers, the likes of DGB, Josh Huff, Bryce Treggs, Paul Turner, these guys aren't NFL caliber receivers. The constant offensive line shuffle. He had at least 8 different combos of starters, and with Lane Johnson going out after the first 4 games, I mean, what he still did, throwing 607 passes, and actually the offensive line held up pretty well. He actually only got sacked 33 times out of over 600 pass attempts. It's only about 5% of the time he got sacked. So the offensive line, with all that shuffling and Carson being Carson and being able, he danced a little, was able to maneuver, showed some of his moves. What he did last year was just incredible. Now with this offseason, I got to give credit to Howie and Joe and Andy White on all those guys, and really surrounding him with a beautiful supporting cast and all this depth he's got at receiver now. Just signed LeGarrette Blount last week. I love that signing. He gets you that guy, the power guy, first and second down. You got third and short. Doug likes going for it on 4th and 1. Blount up the middle. Like those short yardage conversions now.
No Darren Sproles on 4th and 1.
Right. So I mean, what he did, what the Eagles did to surround Carson Wentz with all this talent around him, and O-line depth, wide receiver depth. We all know the guys. It really allows him to make this step up in year 2. He comes in as a leader now. He could literally take the team on his back. Like I'm so confident that we're going to see a huge jump from year 1 to year 2 with Carson. Another year under his belt, same coaching staff, and just improved talent around him. I mean, I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, it's you saw what happened with second-year quarterbacks last year. Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota nearly leading their teams to the postseason. And maybe that's something that Carson really, really makes that leap this year. I mean, like, I think he has the ceiling of a potential fringe top 5 quarterback, but shit, man, he's got some weapons now. Like let's see what he can do.
Yeah,
I'm hearing my echo. It screwed me up.
He talked today a little bit. Carson did, and he was asked about Alshon Jeffrey and the chemistry with him, and he's just like, well, it's going great. Carson will never say a bad thing about any of his teammates, but he's just like, the thing that stands out to him first and foremost is the catch radius on this guy. Like, he's never had a receiver like this. I mean, you can just throw the ball up, and Carson, he's a great athlete. He'll put the ball in a position for where Jeffrey and only Jeffrey can get it, minimize mistakes and maximize potential for a big conversion. I mean, it's and the weapons on this offense now are a plethora. With the depth we got, we don't have just Jordan Matthews to throw to, Mr. Ertz inconsistency, or Nelson Aguilar can't catch the ball. So it's really looking up for Wentz this year to have a big year and hopefully get us in the playoffs. He is the number one X factor. I mean, he has to be. I mean, who else besides him has such a big influence on this team?
Yeah. And when I envision Alshon Jeffrey, I'm already thinking about it. Remember the Giants game last year? Carson Wentz had some of those magical scrambles, and he would kind of loft the ball downfield. And, the one time Bryce Dregs didn't really fight for the ball. Well, Alshon Jeffrey with that catch radius, he will make that catch. He will fight for the ball. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be so nice, man. And then we still got, add another deep threat and more depth with Hollins and Gibson. Don't necessarily know how much influence they'll have. But, it's just this year anyway, but it's just depth there. And I know Hollins will have an impact on special teams. But, this takes, pressure off Nelson, who's probably still going to be on the team just because it costs too much to cut him. Less pressure on him. He's not a starter anymore. So he can just go out there and compete. And one of the things that Doug keeps saying is, we bringing all these guys in, Jeffrey and Smith, and the rookies. It's just the more guys you bring in, the more competitive, it makes the other guys who might have a chip on their shoulder like Nelson, like a little sharper, put a fire under their ass a little bit. And with Mike Groh coming in as a wide receivers coach, I think he's a good guy to have at the helm there. Much better than Greg Lewis, that's for sure.
Iron sharpens iron. That's his saying. That's his go-to saying. That's his thing. All right, so I know Doug Peterson is a difference maker for you. So I'll let you talk about him. Now, we're going to try to pick different names. So Carson Wentz was one that we agreed on, so we both picked them. But we each have 3 more names, and I'll let you talk about Dougie.
Well, Dougie Fresh, I mean, he came in as, him and Carson, I kind of mold them together a little bit. They were both rookies together last year. In essence, Doug was the rookie head coach. Circumstances that Carson did, they're running the same offense. And Doug, got a lot of criticism. He has to look at himself and look at all his decisions he made on game day last year and, improve on them. And that will be an X factor in how some of the outcomes in these games are this year. We have a tough schedule. I can think of a few calls, wasting a challenge on a 3-yard completion. All the, going for a 4th down when you're in field goal range in a divisional game. All these things. I'm all about being aggressive. I like that. But there's a time to do it and a time not to do it. And in certain situations, in what you think will be a close game. These are just I picked Doug because for those reasons I want him to he spent the offseason evaluating himself as a play caller, as a game day coach, play script caller, whatever. He's just got to learn from what I think were mistakes last year. I think he has the potential. He's got a good coaching staff around him on offense, and I think he does have the potential to be a positive X factor. And I can definitely see him taking us to the playoffs, with Carson at the helm. Carson and Doug are in this together.
Yeah, the thing that I kept hearing from Eagles fans this offseason, well, the Eagles, they should have won 10 to 11 games last year. Well, no, they shouldn't have. Doug's play calling sucked, all right? Those close games, there's a reason why they lost those games. Doug Peterson was single-handedly responsible for 2 of those losses. Those 4th down calls, man. I mean, I don't mind going for it actually on 4th down. I really don't mind it. But if you're going to run Darren Sproles behind Halapoulivaati Vaitai on a 4th and 1, that's not going to work. If you're going to run a quarterback sweep along the perimeter with Carson Wentz, I mean, it's not going to work all the time. run it up the middle with LeGarrette Blount. Now, obviously, they didn't have him last year, but you know what I'm saying. So the other point I want to make is this. He's got this huge playbook, and he called the same goddamn plays each and every week. He was like Chip Kelly. He was so predictable. Hoping happens is this. He's got some more weapons now, right? So the weapons are not only going to help Carson, they're going to help Doug as well. I'm hoping they do. I'm hoping that it expands the playbook. He uses a little bit more of that playbook now because he's got more weapons. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a great point. I was actually, you literally took what I was going to say.
I took the words out of your mouth. My bad.
But no, you're exactly right. Those 4th and 1s, it's not going to be Sproles up the middle or Carson on the sweep. It's going to be Blount up the middle. Stick Trey Burton in front of him as a fullback. Like, boom. Like, as long as someone like go behind Brandon Brooks or Lane Johnson. These are guys. Brooks missed a couple games last year. He's got his anxiety thing on. He's got that taken care of now. He's taking meds for it. He should be fine. Lane Johnson, knock on wood, don't be dumb anymore. He'll play a full season. We got a strong running game, I think, in the making with our rotation. Blount is the power back, a healthy offensive line. All these things are going to be huge for Doug and balancing the game plan and opening up all these different calls. And you want to go deep. You want to throw that go route, and if there's a little bit of coverage, Bryce Treggs ain't going to go get it. Alshon will. You got these weapons now in the running game and in the passing game that are really going to help Doug out a lot. And we got DGB to apparently catch fade routes in the end zone. No, that never happened. Now Alshon can do those. I mean, it does. You're exactly right. It opens up the playbook, and it definitely helps Doug a lot. And I think you'll see the results this year.
I'm hoping he proves me wrong because I think he's a doofus. But that's just me. All right, so my next guy, my next X factor, my difference maker, playing alongside Fletcher Cox, I think Timmy Jernigan can excel in this scheme. Now, with that being said, I was drinking that Kool-Aid last year with Benny Logan. All right. So I'm hoping this is a little bit different. Now, I believe that Jernigan is a better penetrator upfield. And you look at last year, he was in a 2-gap system playing 3-4 defensive end. So I think he's that 1-gap guy. Let him go penetrate. Let him go get into the backfield. That's what he does best. Quick first step, gets into the backfield. That's what he does. Times his snap well. I believe, this might sound crazy, but I believe he has double-digit sack potential playing alongside Cox. And the reason why I say that, too, is because of Jim Schwartz's history with defensive tackles. These defensive tackles in his scheme, they rack up numbers. They rack up the sacks. And I'm hoping that Jernigan, he capitalizes. I mean, that defensive line of the Eagles this year, it's looking pretty scary. Now, I'm going to get into some stuff later because, it's really going to matter about how the secondary plays if they're going to rack up sacks or not. But Jernigan, man, he might be scary in this scheme, and we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, I mean, you think of Schwartz's D tackles in his history. I mean, Albert Haynesworth and Dominic Sue. These guys were dogs. They were exactly what he is, and especially next to Cox. They're similar in that way where they can really get penetration and put them together, and then with couple edge rushers, Brandon Graham and Chris Long, Curry, Barnett, that whole rotation works on the edge. And these guys in the middle can just concentrate on, you're right, the 1-gap, just go penetrate, get to the backfield, get the quarterback, get the running back, whoever it is. And yeah, with how big of an influence Cox is, I think Jernigan, I think he's really out to prove himself this year. We said the same thing about Logan last year, contract year, all that, but I think it's different for Jernigan. He just got traded. He didn't expect it. I think, and this system really fits his style. I see 8 sacks at least. I definitely think that's possible.
Yeah. And I believe, if I'm correct, like Benny Logan has like 5.5 sacks over his career. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but Jernigan has like 13 in his career. So he's got, obviously gets after the quarterback a little bit more. And considering he has all those sacks playing in a two-gap scheme, I mean, it's pretty impressive, I think. So, so I'm really looking forward to see what he can do in this scheme. So I'll let you go name your next guy then.
So I'm staying on the D line. I'll go with Vinny Curry. So, I mean, he's not. He's more of like a wild card. Like, not, we don't have a ton of confidence in him right now. This is a guy that needs to come prove himself. Fight for that starter money he's getting, $9 million a year. He was just in the news recently saying that he was hampered with an MCL injury since week 1, and he was listed on the injury report in that Browns game. I think he got off of it in week 3, and then after the bye week, he wasn't on again. He played all 16 games, but maybe he wasn't 100% the whole time. I don't think he's lying. There was an interesting stat. He is effective when rushing the passer, and that's going to be his only job in this rotation. Out of his 436 snaps he played last year, 282 were pass rushes, and he hurried the quarterback 40 times. And according to Pro Football Focus, that's the 9th best efficiency in the league. So, I mean, we know what he can do. So 100% healthy. I think he's, he just drafted Derek Barnett, signed Chris Long. So, there's guys that came in, and like Doug said, competition, iron sharpens iron, right? So, he sees the competition. Maybe he wants to come out and prove himself that he is worth this contract and this money he's getting. I sure hope he does. I don't have a ton of confidence in him, but I think he is. He's going to be in the rotation. He's going to play a factor, and we know what he can do when he does rush the passer. So hopefully, he can get a little more than 2.5 sacks that he got last year. And let's hope he proves me wrong, because that was pathetic. Even though he was effective when he did rush, you just got to get that efficiency. You got to get those sack numbers up.
Yeah, I mean, I've never questioned his ability to get after the quarterback. I know he can do that, but it's like if you're getting paid that much money, you got to be able to do everything. You can't just be a specialist. So it's like so it's no one's going to have expectations for him. He's never going to live up to that contract. But being in a rotation, I mean, if he's only going to be in there and pass rushing downs, if they kind of admit that this is a mistake and they just kind of use him the way he's supposed to be used, maybe he will be effective. We'll see. I mean, I'm not the biggest Curry guy. You know that. So that's me. All right, my next guy is I'm going to name like a couple. It's the secondary. It's because right now on paper, Jalen Mills, Patrick Robinson, that's the worst starting cornerback duo in the league. It's terrible. It's awful. Patrick Robinson is an X factor. It's like literally the same thing as the Leotis McKelvin situation last year. If we remember, Leotis McKelvin, he came in here 2 years prior. He was like a top 10 cornerback according to Pro Football Focus. Excelled in Jim Schwartz's scheme for a year. Then he struggled when Jim Schwartz left, and then he came to Philly, and he sucked again. So we'll see what happens with Patrick Robinson now. Patrick Robinson always stunk in New Orleans. He was terrible. He was a first-round bust there. And then he went to San Diego, and he killed it. He thrived. He was great there. And then last year kind of struggled with a groin injury in Indianapolis, so the season was kind of a wash. So the hope is that he returns to the form that he was at 2 years ago. So it's the Leotis McKelvin thing again. So it's like I'm trying. It's like crazy. It's like I'm drinking the Kool-Aid with the freaking Benny Logan, Timmy Jernigan thing, and the same thing's happening again at the cornerback spot. I hate this shit, but I do feel like Patrick Robinson is like a under the radar sleeper this year.
I mean, we hope that he does bring out the San Diego ways from 2 years ago. I mean, we're going to need it. we addressed the defensive line, and on paper that should help alleviate the pressure on the secondary. We still got solid safeties and Jenkins and McLeod back there to help. So, yeah, but I mean, Jalen Mills this is going to be his first year as a starter. He was a 7th round pick last year. We got, he was, I'd say, below average overall, but I think as a 7th round pick rookie, he put his time in, got valuable experience, and he did all right. But you're right. These are the worst 2 starting corners in the league as a duo. It's interesting to see what they're going to do. I hope Rasul Douglas gets a lot of snaps. He was a ball hawk. I got 8 interceptions last year, led the nation, and he just brings like a fiery attitude with him, and I think he's going to really come in there and compete. Not necessarily be a starter right away, but by mid-season, I mean, if somebody struggles, Robinson or Mills, he's going to be in there, and I wouldn't be surprised at that. And this secondary is very fluid. Right now the starters and OTAs are said to be Mills and Robinson, but that could change by training camp. It could change by preseason game 1. Anything can happen. Douglas could kill it in the preseason and start. I mean, who knows? So yeah, the secondary is very fluid in the corner as the quarterbacks, as far as the quarterbacks go, and the D line should, I think, with all the rotation of the DN and the D tackles, I think we got a good. They got a lot of help down there, so should take some pressure off. But it'll be interesting. I hope we don't got a lot of burnt toast back there like we did with McKelvin and Carroll last year. So we'll see. It's definitely the weakest spot.
And then, they got burned. They got skin cancer because of it.
Yeah, but we're looking towards. It's funny what Roseman and Joe Douglas are doing. Like we're trying to build this thing, build for the future, but at the same time trying to win now. And part of this build is like, in 2018, we could have Sidney Jones and Rasul Douglas be our starting corners, and they could be thriving. So hopefully we have the Lito Shepherd and Sheldon Brown effect here with these 2 picks this year. Not necessarily make an impact this year. Rasul Douglas might a little bit, but I see better things for our secondary in the future.
Now, you make the point about the defensive line, kind of hiding the deficiencies in the secondary. The only way that's possible is if the cornerbacks can show that they can consistently stop the quick 3-step drops, the quick slants, the quick hitches, the quick flips out to the flats, being able to tackle the wide receivers. That's the only way. You've got to be able to stop the short stuff consistently. And they were not ever able to do that once Washington kind of started that trend against us. And from there, I mean, the cornerbacks were burnt toast. And so that's going to be the key. So as good as this defensive line looks on paper, it doesn't matter if we can't stop the quick 3-step drops. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, that's when, you could scheme was having, bringing Jenkins down, moving Hicks over to do a little, a shadow zone and get into that passing lane, to kind of, break that pass up or pick it off. But I mean, yeah, you're right. We did have a problem with those quick passes.
Yeah, for real. So, all right. Your next guy is who?
I think my last guy is it's Ertz. So Mr. Inconsistency. The last 5 games last year, he had 40 grabs for 443 yards and 3 of his 4 touchdowns. That is more than half the production of all the games he played just in the last 5 games. He's always been a slow starter. We got to get him going right away. He's a huge target athlete. We got these threats on the outside now with Jeffrey and Smith. And, I mean, play action with Blunt. I mean, these things can open up the middle of the field. And this is where Ertz has to catch, be productive in every game, not just the inconsistencies that we've seen with him. So he's an X factor in that respect, where all the weapons now we got around him. There was no big threats on the outside last year, so a lot of people kept Ertz covered, or he was back in blocking or whatever. So I think this should open up things for Ertz in the middle. I mean, theoretically.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm very down on Ertz at the moment, so I probably shouldn't be speaking about this.
I know. Well, why are you so down on him?
Because of the inconsistency. Like, jeez, like you want to do it in September, October, November? Like, come on. When are you going to? I mean, I already made a video about this like a week ago, so I really don't need to go into it any further. I took some heat for it though. People are like, leave Zach Ertz alone.
Oh man, yeah. Everyone just loves Ertz because he's just such a, he's just such a great guy. I mean, we love him as a person, but we got to see him as the player. The potential that we've seen, we need to see on a consistent basis. I mean, we know what he can do. We just gotta be more consistent with it. I mean, there's a lot more mouths to feed now, so it might not happen. I mean, what's been his best year? About 800 receiving yards and a handful of touchdowns. I mean, will he ever break 1,000? Probably not. But he can get 800 again. But just let's get it, not all at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's the hope is that like the excuses this time from people are that, well, it took 11 games for Carson Wentz and Zach Ertz to kind of build that cohesion together. I always hate that shit because it's like I see guys like Anquan Bolden kill it right from the beginning as a rookie. I see Kelvin Benjamin and Cam Newton get it going right away. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. That's such bullshit. Oh my God. Yeah, they built cohesion. Get the hell out of here. God. Historically, that's bullshit. All right? BS. Now, I forgot to mention something about the cornerbacks because I did want to talk about Rasul Douglas. And Jim Schwartz has a propensity of playing rookie cornerbacks. And, Jalen Mills, obviously, last year. I'm trying to pull it up. I'm going to see if – because it's crazy how often he plays rookie corners. I believe a couple years ago he had, Ross Cockrell, I believe he played. I can't find this shit now. I got too many tabs open. But the point is like, he had Cortland Finnegan. Cortland Finnegan was a 7th round guy, and he played as a rookie. So just like Jalen Mills, and Finnegan was a Pro Bowler by his 3rd year. So he's not. It doesn't matter to him how old you are, how inexperienced you are. If you're a rookie, he doesn't mind playing you. So if Rasul Douglas shows something, he will be playing. That's my point.
I love it. Put him in. I mean, I think he's got some.
Yeah.
He's got some fire to him. I really like that pick for our 3rd round pick. I think he's got 2nd round upside at least. So, he could very well be our corner of the future. I mean, that's the plan. I hope so. He can hit. He can intercept the ball. He's physical. I mean, it's everything you want in a corner. There's going to be growing pains, sure. These are NFL wide receivers he's going to be covering. We have plenty of them in our division that are Pro Bowlers. So, he's going to have his hands full. And we'll see. I mean, he could earn the spot, or if an injury happens, I mean, I guarantee you he's going to be in there, covering some of the big names at some point this year. He will. And there's no better way to learn. So I'm all about it. Good. Put him in.
Yeah, here's your nugget that I wanted to give you, your Trogs Nugget Nectar of the day. Of the 20 rookies that Jim Schwartz has coached, 18 played at least one game in their rookie seasons, 12 started at least one game, 7 started at least 4. And only 2 of those guys were first-round picks. So most of these guys that are playing, I mean, these are later-round picks. Andre Woolfolk and Pac-Man Jones, your only first-round picks that started under Schwartz. Well, those are only first-round cornerbacks, period, for him. So there you go. There's your nugget.
Good nugget.
It's a good nugget. All right, last dude on the list is now I'm not high on this guy, but X factor, he could be a difference maker. We'll see. It's Torrey Smith. Now, we'll see. I mean, he's still only 28 years old, which is kind of crazy to think about. But you think about last couple years, didn't have a quarterback in San Francisco. Maybe that's what hindered him. We'll see. But that's basically my premise on putting him on the list. I'm not big on Torrey Smith, but I don't think he's the second worst wide receiver in the league, according to what Pro Football Focus said. I guess you can say another X factor, as crazy as it sounds, is actually Nelson Aguilar, because no one is expecting anything from him. If he can make a third-year leap like Marquise Lee did last year, that would be extraordinary. I'm not expecting anything. I think he's mentally done. According to the OTAs, he caught everything in sight today. I mean, that's all good and all, but it doesn't matter. You're not in pads. The bright lights aren't on. You're a mental head case. So obviously, I don't care what you're doing now. Doesn't matter. But yeah, I guess I'll throw Aguilar's name in there. Oh God, I can't believe I just mentioned his name.
Yeah, I just swallowed my own vomit.
Yeah. At least I didn't put TGB on this list. God, you gotta watch the video I posted today.
All right, yeah, with the football hitting him in the face and not even.
Basically, yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, he's done. Bye.
Bye. See ya. Bye, Felicia. Don't ever come back, please. Oh man. All right, so that's pretty much it. Yeah, we don't have any more players, right? So
yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, we had 4 each. All right, so I'm trying to think. So we talked about LeGarrette Blount. Yeah, I guess we could do final thoughts right now and get out of here.
Final thoughts. Day 1 of OTAs. I mean, I like hearing Carson Wentz at the podium. It was nice to hear him, and guys are coming back. And why is Fletcher Cox on an island, not at their voluntary OTAs, but he's on a little vacation on an island?
I really don't care. I mean, I get it, because he's the leader of the team and he just got paid and all that. But I don't think. I think he
should be, as a leader of the team, he should be there. Leader on defense. You want to set a good example, not post on social media that you're on vacation. Yeah, you want to be with your family, but I mean, you just had months and months off. You can go to an island. You have $100 million anytime you want. It just rubs me the wrong way.
He could buy an island.
Yeah, I mean, I get Jason Peters. Kind of a minutes restriction for him, and then
I don't even want him.
Yeah, no, it's fine. And then he's been in the league how many years? And Donnie Football, he's a punter, so whatever. But yeah, the Cox thing rubs me a little the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue against you. Some people feel that way. Some people were really, really critical of him online on social media, call him the next Albert Hainsworth. He's already lazy. Oh my God! Wow, Philadelphia's not freaking out or anything. Jeez, it's only one fucking OTA practice. He's going to be back next week. I don't think it's that big of a deal. We're going to forget about this week 1 when we kick the shit out of the Redskins and Fletcher Cox has 3 sacks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm not making a big deal out of it. I just think he should be there. That's all. I'm not saying that he's gonna, be a next Albert Hainsworth to be, just show up, play. Have your vacation last week, I mean,
yeah, I get.
That's all I'm saying.
I can't wait to see Long next to Cox on the defensive line, just so I can see Long.
Long Cox. Oh
Yeah.
man, it'll be reading backwards though. It won't be.
Cox
Well,
long.
actually, no.
Zock. Glock.
Yeah.
Gall.
Yeah. Right.
Read it backwards. All right, so here's my final thought. Actually, I probably should have said this in the beginning. So, but whatever. We have 32 live viewers right now. So I was invited by, I guess it's 610 ESPN radio, whatever it is, the AM station. I will be on the radio next Wednesday night. So I will be actually. They're going to let me do this. I am going to live stream from inside the studio. So I can't wait. I'm going to be in Bala Cynwyd. I'm going to be on the radio, 6:10 a.m. No, it's not 97.5 or WIP, but it is the radio. It's pretty cool. I think it's a cool opportunity. And I don't think it's going to be a one-time thing. So this might happen a couple times. Basically, they said they looked at – dude, they said they – studies and they weren't all. So there you go. I'm a superstar. It's going to happen. I'm about to get huge. I'm just
There it is. FedQ.
So there it is. FedQ going to be on 610. Well, if only it was the other 610 from, 10 years ago. I've been on that station before. I've already been on 610, actually. That internship game. Colleen Wolfe, I will never, ever forgive you. Ever. You fucked up, Colleen. I should be on the radio right now, actually. Jeez. The internship game, the game that Mark Farzetta won. I was part of that. I finished in 3rd place. They picked the chick that showed up in a string bikini every single day. I will never, ever forgive 610 or 94 WIP. I do not listen to talk radio because of that. Because of what happened.
Well, that was Angelo Cataldi, right? He's like, he's the 7-year-old creep.
It wasn't Colleen Wolfe making the decision. It was Angelo. Filthy bastard. So, didn't pick me. Didn't pick me. How could you not pick me? Are you serious? Jeez. Actually, I finished in 3rd. Like some other chick finished ahead of me too. Freaking both smoke bombs. You know? I wish Angelo was gay. Then I would have won. I would have showed up with peanut butter on my nipples. I would have showed up, in one of those, what do they call them? Fuck, I don't know what they're called. I would have showed up in a romper. I don't care. I would have watched it. I was the best one there. Bullshit. Anyway, we're out. We're leaving. Bye, guys. Jeremy Burton, I'm Adrian FedQ. Tune in next Wednesday night. Live stream on the radio, whatever you want to do. I'll be doing it live. Peace.
So.